Welcome to the realm of Millenia. Be ye man, woman, child, or spirit, creature, or dare I say a demon. Be ye a native migrator, or maybe an invader into the room. Welcome, for I am your host, the Millennium Mailman, here today, and I'll be bringing you guys and gals another hot take hump day for week 41. Devil's Advocate. The first step has been stereotyped to be the hardest one. Right? But not because it is the hardest of all the steps, but because it is statistically the hardest because of how many people are trapped by denial. It is considered, the first step is considered the hardest step because most people statistically never make the first step. All you gotta do is keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. People never begin swimming in the first place, so it is the first step that is statistically the hardest one, right? And those who do take steps, those who take even one step, right, 93.7% of the time take way more than just the one. So, but it is definitely not the first step that is hardest, because the true hardest step to take is after you grow tired. All the gym bros understand this. All the gym gals understand this. The first step isn't the hardest one when you get to the gym, right? When you're going for a workout, if you're going to work out, the first step isn't the hardest step. It's the most tedious one for sure, because sometimes you got to work yourself up to do it. But by far, if you're already at the gym, sincerely, you got people around you. If you're willing to work out at home in your home gym, you can build up the courage, even the most slow, right? It's the most tedious one. You got to build up your self-confidence just a wee bit to start the workout. But it's not that first step in the workout. It's not the first step on the treadmill that's hardest. It's somewhere in the middle, or even for many, it's closer to the end, right toward the end, where you're like, you're tired, you're worn down, and you were ready to give up like 30 minutes ago, but now you're tired, you're sad, you're hungry, and your stomach's crumbling, my muscles are roaring, and I still have 5 freaking minutes on this treadmill, right? The hardest step is the step you take to keep going, right? Before the endorphins kick in, or after the exhilaration starts to die down and the excitement is gone, it's just you and the will to keep going. It's you, your will, your pride, your lack of it, trying to be like, hey, I got a few more reps to do. I gotta finish strong, right? I gotta finish strong. I'm almost done. The hardest step is the step to say, hey, you can do it. You can keep going. Because that is when the relapse happens. The hardest thing isn't the desire or knowing that, hey, I should probably quit or I'm gonna die doing drugs. The hardest thing is the relapse. It's the withdrawal. The first step isn't the hardest step. The first step comes way after the first. The hardest step comes after the first, way long after, when the withdrawal starts kicking in, like, oh, I want to lay the fuck down. I don't like actually working out anymore. I kind of got into it. They convinced me to do it, but at the same time, I'm done right where I am. Lay me on that trolley and you push me home. It's not the first step. It's way beyond the first step. That is actually the hardest. It's that will to keep going. It's the withdrawal that hits you when you finally try to get off drugs, when you finally try to stop smoking, or vaping or anything. It's the relapse effect of wanting to go ahead and let's be lazy for another 5 minutes. Because this is hard. I'm hungry. I'm tired. I don't actually like working out. I never wanted to work out in the first place, actually. It's not the first step. The first step is the easiest, because so long as you take that step, you're going to take many more. The hardest step is the step you know you need to take in order to follow through. That is the hardest step. The hardest step is not the first step. The hardest step is the step you need to take to finish strong and follow through. Be you working out, be you trying to go cold turkey, soft turkey, warm turkey. When you try to get off any drug of any kind, be it whatever you're addicted to, even if it's gambling, right? Tried to cut that cold turkey. I couldn't do it. I was betting behind the bar with some rats and roaches. I don't know how they rolled the dice, but they did. And I lost all my freaking leftover cheese to them, too. I was... The withdrawal will hit you something crazy when it finally does come and hit you. It'll come like a freight train to the face. Withdrawal surely does. The first step is not the hardest step. Because after you take the first step, you're kind of bound to take more than just that one. Right? Even if you fall, even if you go by the wayside here or there, you're bound to take another step. The first step is not the hardest one, and it's not just the one or two after that. It's the steps you need to take when the withdrawal sets in, when the endorphins, when the adrenaline, when your will is wavering, because life is not easy, let alone fair. When it's just you and the goal, and you're at the tail end, and things are not as simple. When things get tough, man, that's tough. When things get tough, those are where the steps are hardest in anything and everything in life. People got this confused, mixed up conversation. Like, hey, the first step is the hardest step. That's a lie told to you because of the statistics, right? The first step is the hardest step. But that's only... oh, gosh. The first step is the hardest step. But that's only because the numbers say most people never make the first step. Most people who have the audacity to slow down and hesitate never take the first step because their hesitation prevented them from having the opportunity to do the follow-up steps. You hesitated on the first step, and now the escalator has moved away from you. You're no longer able to get on, right? The first step is the hardest one. No, that's just the thing about the statistics. The statistics. The first step is not the hardest step. The first step is one of the easiest steps, right? And we can find that out because 93.7% of people who take their first step end up taking way more. People who take that first step take way more than just one step. Many people can say they started. How many people can say they finished? If we were just to poll the people who actually took a first step, if we were to only look at the statistics of people who took a first step and then punched in numbers to see how many of them made it all the way through and finished, how many of the people would actually make it to the end? Oh, less than 10%. Less than 10% of the people who do start actually finish. That sounds like the first step is the hardest step to me. Right? Only 5% of people actually take a first step. Cool. And only less than 10% of the 5% of people actually get to finish after they take the step. Hey, dude, that sounds like the first step is the hardest step to me, dude. That truly sounds like the first step is the hardest step for me. Be it drugs, be it learning to ride the bike, be it learning to drive, be it daring to sign up for the military, be it working out, be it whatever you want it to be. The first step is not the hardest step. So hear it from your devil's advocate first. If everyone around you wants to lie, the first step isn't the hardest step. It is one of the easiest ones. If you're struggling and hesitating with making your first steps, you are failing yourself. You're not failing anyone else, because most of the people around you are also a bunch of failures refusing to take the first step. Not refusing, hesitating with the first step and ruining their own futures because of it. You're not the only failure that's hesitating with their first step. It's all right. I'm calling everybody out here. You're failing yourself right now by hesitating longer and longer and longer, but they already failed because their opportunities are already gone. They wouldn't be telling you about how good it would be for you for taking this first step if they took it. Because if they took that first step, they wouldn't be right next to you all up in your ear like, hey, you should take that first step, bro. You should take that first step. They wouldn't be in your ear able to tell you to take the first step. They would be from across the street like, hey, take the first step. It's way better over here. Right? Listen, they couldn't be all up in your ear, up and breathing down your back and up your crack if they already took their first steps and they were following through. They would be far ahead of you saying, come on, it's way better over here. You get abs. Okay? You could get abs. There's food along the way. They're passing out drinks to us over here. Right? Passing us drinks from cars for participating in the marathon. Come on, bro. If you have someone in your ear, I'm calling them out too. They're also a failure. The first step isn't the hardest step. Just because people want to hesitate and be in denial for a majority of their life does not make the first step the hardest step. Don't listen to them. They lying to you. It's the lies they tell to help themselves sleep at night and make you feel better for choosing the same failure and flawed lifestyle that they did. Chill out. The first step has never been the hardest step. It's statistically that way because 1 million people struggle with hesitation and denial. Don't be one of those people. Take the first step knowing that it will get tougher later on. The hardest step is when the things die out and you are nearing the goal. When you are nearing the finish line of success and greatness, the hardest step is going to be one of the last hurdles in this rat race to the finish line to get first prize. The hardest step is going to be you telling yourself when there's no one else around you to directly support you, right? The hardest step is going to be taking the steps that put you ahead of everyone else. When everyone's voices is behind you saying, keep going, the hardest step is going to be you getting too far ahead of everyone to where you can't freaking hear them no more. I am so far ahead. I am so great, so successful. I can't even hear them anymore, let alone see them in the distance. I can't even hear them. I can't even see them. Am I going the right way? Take your next step. The first step, you've done that miles ago. Take another step. The first step is not the hardest step at all. No matter how many people hesitate, no matter how many people never finish, don't let those failures to follow through turn you into another one of them who has not completed and become a success. Be the next first generation awesomeness. Be the next first generation to make it through high school. Be the next first generation to go through college. Be the next first generation of big business owners, entrepreneurs that made something for your family. Be the next first generation homeowner in your family. Be the next first generation non-alcoholic, non-smoker, be the first generation. The first step is not the hardest step. The hardest step is keeping it going to the point where you are the success story other people reference. The hardest step is finishing, right? Follow through. When you don't have everyone right there next to you, close in your ear, telling you where to step. When you don't have people who are right here where you are, able to say like, hey, so you're going to want to put your next foot 3 inches above where that first foot is. And then you're going to want to move your body with a little extra swing at this point because there's like a little lip right here. You don't want to hit your head on that, okay? You don't want to hit your head on that. So you're going to want to kind of duck under that because there's a low-hanging branch that'll slap you in the face if you don't pay attention, right? Braving the trail to actually become your own success later on is where the harder steps come in, right? It's never the first step that is the hardest. Just because stereotypes and numbers and statistics that people don't understand, that is where the misconception that, hey, the first step is the hardest step comes from. Don't let that be you. Don't let that fool you. The first step has never been the hardest step. The hardest step has always come later on. And it's you who has to put in the effort to follow through and still be awesome. To still be great. But hey, man, that's just me, your devil's advocate speaking here. Week 41 devil's advocate hot take. The first step isn't the hardest step. The hardest step comes much later. Believe me or don't. But that's just the hot take. Week 41. If you like what I had to say or how I said it, leave a like on the video. Comment down in the comment section down below or reach me at MILLENIANmailmen@gmail.com. I check my email once a week. Put down your question, comments, concerns down in that comment section down below. Share the video for more exposure and subscribe if you feel like it. Dislike the video if you don't. No one's holding you hostage. But always remember peace, love, and happiness and all the best of things to you. Because the first step isn't the hardest one. The hardest one is that will to keep going. Believe me or don't. But it's the devil's truth.